You are not the hero, and your employees are not broken. Happy Monday. Welcome back to our installment of the 7 Deadly Sins for Leaders. In installment 2, the second deadly sin is stop trying to fix your employees. Your employees are not broken. They are grown adults. They need guidance, and we can help our employees figure out how to align with the culture and what's going on and what our goals are, but they are not broken. And as leaders, we should not be the hero. We should be the guide. And a little bit later, there's going to be a link that comes up to the top right here, and it's going to say, are you the guide or the hero? If you're wondering what I'm talking about guide and hero, definitely check that out. It was based off of a session that I saw Donald Miller, who's the author of The Story Brand, speak on. It's a really good session. Okay. So when we talk about our employees, whenever I'm coaching new leaders, and sometimes not new leaders, they'll come to me and they'll say, I don't understand why I'm surrounded by children. Why can't they just do what they're supposed to? They are receiving a check to perform a job, so they should perform the job. Okay, leader, that's looking at our employees as though they're children or they are broken. Our employees will do what they are allowed to do. As a leader, if you allow an environment of toxicity and drama, the naturally strong-willed employees are going to step into that. And it's not always going to be pretty. Or if you create a feeling of favoritism and you have favorites, whether you believe it or not, if it's showcasing that you have favorites, then your employees are going to respond to that. So you're going to have an environment of not enough. That there's not enough resources, there's not enough time, there's not enough, and they start vying for you to be that person that passes out all of those resources. Both of those cases, you end up doing more work. That's the problem whenever we don't empower our employees, when we treat our employees as though they're broken and as though we have to fix them. We end up working exponentially harder managing all of these things instead of driving our team to the next to that next goal and helping our company achieve the results. So let's talk about what we can do to not try and fix our employees. I've been diving a lot lately into Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. If you have not read the book, please read the book and go, you can Google Dare to Lead Hub. She has a website that is focused on Dare to Lead that has a ton of information that you can work through. They have a workbook that you can work through the book at the same time with different activities. And one of the things that she talks about that I've never really been able to articulate, but as soon as I read it, I was like, yes, this is it. It's generosity. You give your employees the most generous idea that you can give. So let's say I go into work and one of my employees, who's also always super excited and says hi before I have to say hi, doesn't say anything. And whenever I say hi, they don't respond. The story I begin telling myself may be they're mad at me, they don't like me, what did I do wrong? When in reality, they may be going through something personally and were totally in their heads and just didn't hear me. And so now I ask myself in those situations, what is something that has nothing to do with me that could be an alternative to this scenario? And I always try and give my employees the benefit of the doubt. I don't want somebody to assume the worst in me. So why would I assume the worst in somebody else? There's an old saying that says we judge ourselves on our best intentions and others judge us based on our actions. What I suggest is that we start judging others on their best intentions as well. Now, the second thing that we can do is whenever there is a situation, whenever there is a problem, then let the employees help you find the solution. I had to get really used to not being the smartest person in the room. That was something that I had, it was a label that I held very near and dear to my heart growing up, was I was the smartest kid in the room. I put up a lot of barriers and a lot of armor to protect that. And when I became the leader later, many years later, I didn't realize I still had that need to be the smartest kid in the room, which meant that I wasn't asking my employees for help. when there was a problem, then I was going to be the one to solve it. I was going to be the hero. Took a class. Somebody said, start asking them for help. They know more than you do. I was a little offended by that. But when I started thinking about it, I realized that that was correct. Because the employees are living day in and day out. They live and breathe, especially in the front line. They live and breathe the front line. They know the challenges that our customers are facing. They understand where the pain points are. So why wouldn't you include them when you're trying to resolve an issue? Most of the time, they're going to have a better, more efficient, and less expensive answer. So the second part of not trying to fix your employees is include them in the problem. Let them help you solve it. And the third step is take responsibility for the problem. As leaders, we give the credit, we take the blame. So if there is a problem, bring your employees in, help figure out what that solution is, but know that that problem doesn't fall on anybody else's shoulders. When I hear the term problem employee, that always frustrates me a little bit because there are no problem employees. There are only problems that leaders allow to exist. And so when you're looking at problems, take responsibility for that problem. No matter what it is your responsibility to resolve it somehow. And I've been in the situations when I worked third shift. I had a cast member who loved Disney and was trying, but I kept finding him asleep in the clothes racks. Third shift was not for him. I couldn't look at him as he was the problem employee. It was my job as the leader that I needed to resolve that problem. And so we ended up talking, and unfortunately he wasn't able to be transferred because he was new with the company. So we talked about it. We helped him find a job that fit what he was looking for outside of Disney. He came back to Disney a couple of years later and loved it. Not on third shift. That's what I mean by the problem. He wasn't the problem. The problem was he was in a job for a company that he couldn't do. So when we are looking at not fixing our employees, there's some things to remember. Assume the best of your employees. The second thing to remember is let your employees help you find the solution for the problems. And the third thing to remember is take responsibility for the problem. It does not fall on your employees' shoulders. And as promised, if the link hasn't already played, then you're going to see it up here. I never know where my editor is going to put it. Then you're going to see it up here. And the link is Are You the Guide or the Hero? It's a quick video done, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 months back, all about the definitions of the guide and the hero that we use throughout this video. Thank you very much for joining me this week. I can't wait to see you next week. And if you're liking this, if you're liking the 7 deadly sins of leadership, you're liking kind of how we're building on this, then one, please do me a favor, share this content. It is huge if you share, and then like and maybe throw in a comment. The more that you interact with this, the more that people are going to see it. So thank you again. Have a wonderful week. And as always, you got this. See you next week.